So what is it that will feel like a true discovery or will be a true discovery? That which even the mind can say, I'm feeling this peace, or I'm feeling this experience, or life is moving just fine. That is freedom. Or the mind has no idea, it can't confirm or deny nothing. And yet, somewhere, you know, but the mind has no clue. Yeah? What will be the true discovery? Yeah? Yes, but there's nothing that you can prove.
The proof is your knowing.
Yes, when somebody says, are you really free? Are you peaceful all the time? Are you blissful all the time? Happy all the time? So the mind has no evidence of your freedom. Would you be okay with that? A question like this is very important to bring some true direction into our spiritual quest. Can we come to a point where the byproducts are nice to have, but they are not central to our discovery? And what is central to your discovery, what your mind can fathom, is peanuts, it's popcorn compared to the reality. But to the mind, that is nothing. Did I jump into it too fast? Should have had some build up and just make sure I'm taking everyone along. What is that which to the mind is nothing, but in reality is the absolute, the ultimate reality?
Share a report in that context.
Yeah.
So you had bewildered my mind 10 days ago.
Yes, yeah.
It was a good bewilderment, as always. So I was in Bali for 4-5 days. Beautiful beach, whatever. And it was beautiful, but while I was sitting there, whether I was in the bathroom or on the bed or sitting and facing this beautiful ocean and all that, there didn't seem to be any difference in the inner experience.
Yes.
Then I was at the airport on the way back and I felt the same.
Yeah.
And so I was really marinating in what you had suggested, which is like, is it really peace or is it really happiness or is it something possibly prior to that?
Yes.
And I was just trying to, in a gentle way, trying to see, is there something prior to that?
Yeah.
Is there something prior to that? And I don't have an answer, but I think what came up is what was happening on the outside could be beautiful, could be ugly, could be boring, could be exciting. Didn't really change anything on the inside. So I don't know if that's kind of the direction, but I did get a lot of value out from that book 10 days
Very
ago.
good. Very good. Yes, that is the direction. That is the direction. How do I say? that which is of no value to the mind because it can't really fathom it. But you can come to the discovery of the immensity of this reality, but you'll never be able to push it back into your head. So, what happens when you open and empty? If you go to the mind, what will it say? When you open and empty, if you want a report from your mind, what does it say? Where's who said? Ah, sorry. It's considered boring, uneventful at best. And if it's being charitable, then oh, peaceful, no trouble. But what is your discovery when you open and empty? You see, so I'm going to exaggerate and say my fear is that all of you will feel like open and empty is a life hack. You see, it's a life hack where just like, any problem? Ah, open and empty. All things are perfectly resolved. So, perfect life hack. It's not for that. The life hacking is the byproduct, if at all. Because what are you discovering when you open and empty? And that is the whole point of me for God or God for me. Because as long as there's belief in the identity of me, then at best this will seem like a spiritual tactic to make my life better and will have nothing to do with the true discovery. Isn't it? You see? So if you forget about improving your life or making it better for a moment, and that is the only way to be open and empty anyway, then what do you discover? And I don't need a rationale for your answers because the answer will not have a rationale. Like my answers don't have a rationale. If I say you discover the ultimate and you say tell me how, because you're open and empty and you're saying it's beyond perception, what do you mean you discover the ultimate? I can't tell you. Is it somewhat clear? It's quite extraordinary and subtle at the same time. No? So the mind may be struggling. So don't try to understand too much of what I'm saying. Just with the innocence of a child, just follow along. When you are open and empty, do you discover something which is beyond perception? Right?
It's the report I just wanted to give was that in open and empty, what's happening is that the isness, the space in which the field in which everything is being felt, is feeling like it's solid. It is a feeling like what I took to be, what I was not aware of. There's nothing here. It's just solid and filled with a kind of the vibrating energy.
Yes. But solid perceptually?
Not perceptually, but it just feels like there's so much energy. There's so much there that it's not perceived, but it's not perceived through the senses. But there's an acknowledgement that the all space is sort of filled with something which is of a substance beyond perception.
Yes.
And
is the term energy for communication purposes, or does it seem energetic because
I can't put a tag to it.
Yeah.
It's not like a pulse or something like that. It's
Yes.
just, the thing is, I also just wanted to add on to that because you can feel the contours of the body and everything like that as something that's on a surface of something which is infinite. So you can feel all that, and then sometimes it feels like the body itself is expanding.
But stay with the infinite part.
Yeah.
No, so stay with the infinite part, where it seemed like, how do I stay with it? Because it's very difficult to talk about. But
Yeah.
I'll get the ineloquence as well. But it is important to stay with that because I want to take the conversation away from the byproducts or the elements of perception that we can use to sort of provide evidence to our insight and to stick with the inexplicable insight itself. You see what I'm saying? Huh? No? So, is open and empty a way to be peaceful alone? In the sense that is that its only purpose? Oh, I'm open and empty, nothing can bother me, solved, life is solved. Because nothing can bother you, it's true, as you're open and empty, but that is not the main point. The main point is the insight, the self-knowledge.
After being open and empty.
After being open and empty, what is action?
There's no idea. So if I'm lost in byproduct of it.
Mike?
So we can get stuck on the byproduct, and that's many times is used as a card, trump card, like be open and empty. I forget my tomorrow's problem, today's problem, and so on. But then there is, as you said, there is a discovery there, and if I want to use words, it's like I lose the center. There is no center after that. It's like
Yes, but what is discovered? What are we discovering?
You're discovering that we are everywhere.
Yes, but everywhereness has a perceptual sense, no? like a space which is everywhere. Isn't it more like nowhere and everywhere, or whereness is not relevant anymore? Yes, but is the everythingness or the awareness still relevant in that? So is open and empty just a way to lead a peaceful life? How many feel that way? Nice way to lead a peaceful life. Now the way I framed it, nobody will raise that. Okay, what else is it? What else is it? Huh? Nothing else? Self-knowledge, Atma-Gyan, self-discovery, any of that? No?
Like those questions are dropping.
Yeah.
Like all these almost very curious questions on purpose, meaning,
Yeah.
all of that is just dropping.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can say I have like knowledge in. It's just like those topics are becoming of no interest.
Yeah.
It's more like a dropping for me, at least.
Yes. So knowledge not of the conceptual variety, but a knowledge of God, a knowledge of the Absolute.
I'm beginning to see God in my dog also. I don't know. I really
Yeah.
feel it. I never felt it before.
But that which is beyond perception, there are many fancy words for it. The Absolute, Nirguna Brahman, the unchanging reality, the Self. Is that our discovery? So it brings us back to that very old question, isn't it? What do you know when you know nothing? To know this, you have to know nothing first. And it is not any knowledge that you can then hold on to. You see? So I know this now. Okay, I am back to believing in the hypnosis of the mind. And yet, yes, few minutes back, I had an experience of the self. Irrelevant. You see? Such a claim can only be made, even then it is dubious, but only be made when you are empty. Your experiences of yesterday do not matter here. Your experiences of joy, bliss, peace, although we are not to be averse to them in any way, we can enjoy them. But remember that they are the prasad to the insight of the self. So satsang is a strange place where you give up all control over your life for this no thing, which you can never understand or see. That's why Guruji said, you have to be a bit crazy to be free. Because only someone crazy can make that call. I'm going to give up my life and I'm not going to get anything that the mind can understand in return. I will not see anything, I will not think anything special. I'm going to be a nobody. I'm not going to become an enlightened sage. Nothing at all. No experience is relevant. No taste is relevant. They all can. They're welcome to come and go. And to be nothing and to know nothing is actually the same thing. Because to be something, you have to know something. Okay? So what do you know when you are nobody? It's the same question as saying, what do you know when you know nothing?
Father, but many scriptures say that self is the light, is the bliss,
Self?
is the light.
Light,
It is
self-effulgent.
effulgent,
Yes.
it's the bliss,
Yes.
the joy,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
Now,
Can you look at the light of the sun?
yeah,
You can't. In
No,
the sense you
meaning,
can
yeah.
indirectly, but when you look at the sun, you have to turn away. No, you have to turn away. So even when you encounter the light of the sun, you have to turn away because your eyes cannot handle it. The light of the self is that way. It is too bright for us to. In fact, we don't have an instrument to perceive it. You see, it is too bright for any instrument that we have to perceive it. It can only be known intuitively. See? So it is absolutely true that it is the ultimate light, but that light can only be known intuitively as light and not through perception as light. You see, because we cannot even stare at the light of the sun. If there was very bright spotlight in this room, you could not even look at that. See? So it is impossible to meet the light which is the self in any sort of perceptual way. See? And yet, is it the light in which this light is born? In fact, the light of consciousness, the light of being is born first. Within that, this light comes. You see? So Bhagavan said, in whose light do we see the light of the sun? In whose light do we see the light of the sun? In your light, you see. So that light, can you perceive? In the light in which the light of the sun shines, can we perceive it? We cannot perceive it. Even the light of the sun we cannot perceive directly. We only have to meet indirectly through reflection. See?
So, Father, when you feel that, I know you can't perceive it, but you feel it.
Yes, but is it a feeling?
No, it's not a feeling.
Yes.
It's a being.
Yeah, it's just inexplainable.
It's not explainable.
In fact, the being is also recognized there.
Yeah.
You see, the being is also recognized there.
So, is it the same as open and empty, Father? Or do we always have to have those attributes in open and empty?
Self-knowledge is not possible unless you're open and empty. Because what is the opposite of it? That you're holding on to a concept of something. Okay? As you hold on to the concept of something, it is not possible that you hold on to avidya and the presence of vidya is apparent. It is, the presence is obviously there, but it is never apparent. You see? So at best, we can then be conceptual about it and say, oh, absolute reality does not come and go. It is the unchanging. Therefore, it doesn't matter if I'm open and empty or if I'm caught up in thought. How does it matter? To the intellect, we can make that argument. But the fact is that the taste of the self, the tasteless taste of the self, is only apparent when we are free from the hypnosis of the mind, hypnosis of the limited identity. Just not possible. So whatever else we may do that we may call spirituality, if it doesn't make us open and empty, then it is not true spirituality. If it is a process of constructing something, creating new thought patterns, belief systems, ideas that we take to be true, then it is not really spirituality, because to meet the spirit in reality, we have to be empty of ourselves. And we cannot be empty of ourselves unless we are first empty of ideas. See, because what is empty of ourselves, the limited self, is just belief in the limited persona, belief in the limited belief system. So we have to be empty of that. Only then can we claim to be dead to ourselves. And then in that clearing up of the lane or the room for God's presence, only in that can we find God, can we find the reality. You see, so when the sage said the lane is too narrow for both God and me, he was being completely literal about it. It was completely literal, and it's completely moment to moment. It was not a romantic statement, you see, that I have to go, my beloved will come. Not like that. You see, it's sweet that way, but the fact is, it's just an instruction which is moment to moment. Be empty of yourself, and that is the only way in which God can come, because the lane is too narrow for both. It's very literal. See? That's why God for me just cannot work. If we have individual belief in individual will, I want something. If we have self-concern, oh, what about me? What about me? Then forget, there's no open empty. There's no open and empty at all. Only when you're empty in the head, headless, does your heart shine.
Father, so I think you also mentioned last time about our job is to set the table.
Yes.
And I think it's the same metaphor, right? Being open and empty and setting the table. And after setting a table, and before you realize, what is there? What do I have to do? Or what if setting a table itself is a bliss? And
You set the table. Now, is there after?
It's nothing there. That's it.
No, wait.
But
wait. No, that's not what I was saying. You're open and empty. And it's true, I have said that this is just to set the table, and whether God comes or not is up to God's grace. Now let's go a step further than that. You're open and empty. Show me time. Show me space. Can you show? While remaining open and empty, show me these things. There's time.
I want to ask what next, but then nothing next.
If you're no longer, you can ask what next, but you have to recognize that before you go to what next, you are no longer empty. Because it is the end of time and space. Okay? And you recognize it instantly, but when you want to go for confirmation, is it? Then if you go to the wrong instrument, then again you're stuck. You see, so to the mind, it will all sound like a bunch of hocus pocus. You see, but you can be reassured that all the books back there, all the sages have said the same thing. So unless they were big like tricksters or something, and they all ganged up together, and there's like lineages of tricksters from generation to generation, all selling the same false nonsense. There must be something there, no? So really, I feel like it is time as a Sangha to come to this point now, where we let go of reliance on conceptual knowledge and any attachment to perceptual experience. Is it time or no? Yeah.
So, like you said, that in that instant, you know, I mean, in that very instant, but it's, I know it sounds horrible, but that instant, see, like you answer that if I go to check, then I've already left.
Yes, because with what will we check?
No, because the experience is that you've left. But if I don't buy that belief, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to say it.
No.
So,
Say again?
So it's
in you say that in the instant, in the presumed instant,
yeah,
as you're open and empty, that's the end of time.
correct.
So, but let's use that. So, in the instant that you open and empty, what is known?
You're looking at me. Okay. I mean, I know my.
Following? When you know nothing, what do you know?
I know that I'm referenceless. Also that
Referenceless. Is that what you say?
yeah.
Referenceless.
I know God's presence.
Yes, and the I that knows even God's presence.
So there's no separation between God and me.
Yes, but that which witnesses God's presence, is it dependent on presence or absence?
No.
Who is that one? Huh? In the sense that if the presence was to go away, the witnessing would also go?
No.
Or I witness the presence, or does the presence witness me? And remember that I'm using I and me not in the egoic sense at all.
But this witnessing is me. I mean, this is the unchanging thing.
Huh? Yes, so you say that what do you know when you know nothing? You say, I know that God's presence is here. You see, I'm asking now that this I that knows even presence or absence, is it dependent on the presence? So who is that that's not even dependent on God's presence? Because the God is the light of all things. And of course, it depends on our definition of God. So in this case, I'm talking about the Saguna Brahman, the being, and not the pure awareness itself.
Father, can I take you one step
Mike
back?
came back to you?
So one step back. So
One step back.
open and empty, and when and it's, as I can see, there's no reference. Right now I am using my mind to frame that, but being open and empty and knowing myself or knowing who am I, there's two things. And so I am so when you said set up a table and wait,
Yes.
so I'm expecting be open and empty, and eventually you will know who am I, or you will get the gyan.
I may have said set the table, but I don't know if I said wait.
No, that is our job.
Yeah.
You never said wait. You are right. But
I may have. It's okay.
no, the remaining is like so. Is there anything more than being open and empty? So I'm stuck there again.
But I'm asking before we can say more. What is already there?
So we already you walked us through the absence of time and space there. Of course, to talk, I have to come back again. But it's there. It's absence of most everything, or maybe presence of everything. There's, as Jyotima said, no reference, no center, no isness. That's what I would put in
Any
words.
limitation?
Any
limitation?
If at all, it's very faint. I don't see any boundaries there.
No boundaries, because we said no time, no space. So you don't need those things. What about you?
So again, I'm using after and before, but yeah, being in open and empty, and I can still see a space where there is a witnessing open and empty, or
Okay.
there
You
is
can
somebody.
see that there is a space where there is a witness. You are not that witness.
Someone is seeing that. Someone is witnessing it. Something is witnessing. Now, whether it's
Who is it? Good to find out these things. Who is it? You better find out. No? If there's somebody sitting in that room, we'd want to find out. He's saying there's somebody inside us. Better we find out.
So to find that out,
Yeah. How do you know it is there? In the same way, find out who it is. Not in any other way. You see what I'm saying? Like you found out intuitively that someone is there, let's say someone. But I'm saying enough of this someone business. No, it's about time we find out. How long will we rely on that? So there is someone witnessing. Who is that someone?
Father, let me put this one more time. I'm still not. So let's say there is 1 gram of effort to be open and empty, because I have to put some effort there. Now, after that, again, before and after, open and empty, do I need to put further efforts to find out who am I, or I'm just there waiting?
So, in a way, the question is like, okay, if I'm open and empty, then why are you prodding with all these questions? Because how am I supposed to answer them? But the questions are meant to only make you fully open and empty.
Also feels like sorry to use the engineering an asymptote where
You'll have to translate. It's not in the engineering I studied.
asymptote where you're approaching a line. One line is approaching the other line, but every time you look closer, you still not approached it, and then you can keep looking and it keeps going. feels like that, like, and speech starts dropping off, and then
Yeah. And this
my
is
question is that is it like that? Because
yeah,
that's how it feels.
yeah. It's like that. And still, if someone say, "Have you met the depth of it?" No. Every time I go deeper, it gets deeper. Every time I go deeper into my own self, I also realize how foolish my expression is. In terms of even the attempt to try and communicate any of this, or even generally in life. So it is like that asymptote. So what do you find when you're empty? And I am proposing to you that nothing else is worthwhile. Everything else is worthwhile only if it leads to this. Let me say it that way. Otherwise, you say, what about humility, faith, love, all those? They're helpful because they lead to this. Right?
There is an I which is witnessing impermanence.
Who is that? You still say it as if there's some guy. Just some guy sitting inside. You are. Yes. Yes. So one of this you is real, and the other one is not real. And real itself is a very strange term, but let's say real by Vedantic or spiritual standard.
Father, when you ask what do you find when you're open and empty, earlier I felt there was a lot of hesitation to openly say that I meet myself, because somewhere the little me was trying to, oh, now what does it make me, some.
Yes, and sometimes it's just like, you sound so proud.
Yeah, are you trying to show off, or are you trying to convince yourself, a lot of things. But now I feel completely okay and very simple and direct. I can feel to say I meet myself fully. As you said, it's just deepening. I can't say I can ever meet the depth in that way, but it's deepening every moment, every day. And I feel I meet that permanence. I don't have words to say. And there is nothing more than that, or less than that. It is complete in that way. Thank you, Father.
And when we say that, it is about ourselves, our real self, our reality. Does that sound like she's making it up? Not making it up. So, what is this strange business? Know nothing, don't have to see anything, and yet some are reporting that we're meeting ourselves. But you're not seeing anything, you're not thinking anything.
Maybe you've spoken about this before, but I don't recall. For a child that is, let's say, year and a half, that has still not formed this conceptual frameworks, identity, and the joy and bewilderment with which we look into a child's eyes, that is so magnetic. And there's no way to know, but I'm asking you, do you think they are in that?
Yeah. Yes. And yet, in a way, like Nelson Mandela would not be Nelson Mandela unless he was in jail for so many years.
Right. So that
so both are true.
recognition that I am awake.
Yeah. After being in prison, to be free, there is something to be said for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Show me. Let's be open and empty together. Where is space?
There's a laptop to your left and this thing to your right.
Is there? As you're empty? What is left? What is right? Up, down, yesterday, tomorrow. Here, there, before, after, inside, outside. What remains? Empty of conceptual knowledge. Are they 1, 2, or 0? Is it Advaita, Advaita, or Zerota? Shunyata. Why did we have to go far? Huh? Not even. Not even. This is what I'm saying. That I want to sound urgent about it without lying. So I'm concerned that that pointing which is meant to bring us to the highest discovery will be misunderstood as just something to, as just words to make a better life out of. It's not a bad thing because in the world, even to find words that we can make a better life out of is good enough. But I feel like it's underselling it in a huge way, actually. You bought a 3-bedroom house. It's nice and comfortable. But you decide to sleep in the kitchen because you haven't explored the rest of the house. So you're just sleeping in the kitchen every night. It's okay. You can sleep there. It's fine. It's better than sleeping in a forest or something. But Something more to it.
When you said that 12 years has been deepening,
Yeah.
you said that from the heart, and that has time also.
Yeah.
So you can talk of time when you're open and empty.
Talk of anything.
But it's there, no?
Huh?
So that's perceptions are ordered in space and time, arranged.
Everything is fine. Logic at that point has been left far behind. Couldn't be bothered. Can it be this and that and neither?
I'll share it with Shiv just for curiosity, but the question of time and space, I was listening to Einstein just coincidentally yesterday, and he said the same things of there is no time, there is no space. It's just a utility to operate, but in essence, there is no such thing. I'll share that with you, Shiv. It's pretty cool.
Like to believe Einstein.
Huh?
We tend to believe Einstein and not.
Yeah. It's always easier to believe those who are dead.
On that joke that it's always easier to believe somebody who's dead or Einstein. Actually, my experience has been the opposite. I've read all this stuff before that Einstein said, but when I read it, it was like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
What is he had something to drink today, or maybe he's just not in it today. But after coming here and having those tastes, I can only say taste, those things are making intuitive sense. Oh, that's what he was saying. It's very different.
Very.
I just wanted to report. So last night, late at night, these feelings were coming up. Which this one I read as anxiety, fear. But basically, the heart beating very fast, and it is going very fast.
Yeah.
So the word came up that you'd had with Anshul, that disillusionment leads to fear. And then I asked, who is feeling this fear? Who's here?
Yes.
And there was a distance between I and those feelings and the I that was watching.
And the distance between the feelings and the I that was witnessing the feelings.
There was a separation.
Yes.
It was not personal. It didn't appear
Tell me more about the eye that is watching.
I just was.
No, let's go to it now. That which witnesses the feeling is also witnessing these perceptions, presumably. Tell me about that one.
It's just.
Don't let the absence of worldly quality fool you. See, because what can happen is that very quickly the mind can say, उसमें अब क्या बोलना है? You see, there's nothing there. It's just sitting, witnessing. See? So don't let its absence of perceivable qualities fool you. It deserves everything that we have. If you think we have time, then time. You have attention, then attention. If you think we have love, then love. Whatever, everything must be given to that. You see, and that takes faith. It takes faith because it is non-perceptual and it's completely irrational. What is being said, what is being proposed, is to give your love, your life, everything that you think you have to that presence and that which is aware of even presence without expecting anything in return. That needs trust, faith, devotion. Because to be that empty of selfishness, to be that empty of grasping and desire, in what we see of the human condition is very rare. So, but you are that rare one. Because in a world of 7 billion, how many are in satsang like this? Very few. What you think you know is the enemy of true knowledge. Forget about it. What do you know? Forget about it. What do you know? Pakka? Forget about it. Nothing. What do you know? What do you know? Forget about it.
Father, is witness and presence the same thing, Father?
You say, is witness and presence the same thing? Let's say the presence is witness to perception and the self is witness to even the presence. That presence is witnessed independent of perception, isn't it? Or at least the immensity of the presence is realized beyond the perceptual taste of the vibration of the presence. I mean, the immensity of the being whose presence it is not recognized through some seeing, like perceptual seeing or hearing, tasting, touching. So if you mean by witnessing to perceive, then we can say we can apply that to presence. The presence or the being perceives. But that which is aware even of presence is what we usually refer to as witnessing.
So witness is nirguna and
Witnessing
presence is
nirguna,
saguna.
yes. You cannot know here and know here. You cannot know KNOW here and here. It has to be a know here, and know, then you can know here.
This, so when you say being is boundless, that also has nothing to do with space, does it or not?
The space in which space is born, that is boundless. Okay, well, so it doesn't sound like a Zen riddle or something. When was this space born?
When I woke up.
Were you there before you woke up?
Yeah, I have to answer. Yeah.
You were there, no? Before you woke up.
Yeah.
So that space, which was still there before this space was created in the presence of your being, that is truly boundless.
Like I've had trouble with that, like
Big time.
bound.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Trouble in which aspect of your being? In just the being?
No.
Then?
Some knowledge, like no knowledge I'm getting.
Here.
It's not even hard knowledge I'm not
Here?
getting.
Here? Just here. If the mind wasn't troubled by it, then I'd be troubled. But is your nose troubled by it? Trust your nose more then. Can we do without fixing it on our head?
That's my
Huh?
that is really the
So
discovery.
if I told you it will never be fixed in the head,
Yes, that's what I've discovered. It doesn't matter, that whether it's fixed or not fixed,
That's
because
what
it
I'm
has
saying.
nothing to do
Then
with
there's no
what I
trouble.
am. No, I'm saying that's my discovery that it can go
That's your
on.
discovery. I heard
Yeah.
discomfort.
No, the discovery doesn't matter
Yes,
one
yes.
little bit. It can just go on. And it makes, if it was never fixed, nothing would really change at all. It would mean nothing to what I am.
Anyone fully lost today? Fully lost? Fully lost? Two honest people, and then which part do you want to say? Everything. Like starting with open and empty. To be open and empty is clear. What is to be open and empty?
If that means not chasing the thoughts and letting them come and go.
Yeah, just be empty here. No? Just so empty of conceptual beliefs. Let's put it that way. So now you're still there?
Then I had to go back without all the
No. Don't go back. Just remain empty. Don't go back. Are you still there? Huh? Huh? The mind is, of course, proposing that you can't answer this question without me. Of course, the mind will propose that. Okay? Then all the masters are sharing satsang without the mind. Or are you here to listen to the mind? So it's possible for the instrument of the body to be used by the heart directly as well. See, so don't rush it. Just be open and empty. Whenever it feels just natural from the heart to confirm if you're still here, you can do that. But don't go to the mind. I'm reminded of the scene from a movie, Revolver. The elevator scene, I'm sure I forced all of you to see. I'll put it on somewhere. But in that, the mind says, when the mind is found out, the mind says, do you know life without me? Do you know life without me? So that is what it proposes. He's saying, be open and empty. Then he's asking, are you still here? How to answer that without the mind? See? Then the master must be really silly. I have no idea what he's talking about. Because I can't speak without the mind. Or can you? See? We all met some people who feel like the whole universe revolves around them. That is the mind. Feel like nothing can move without me. I am only perceiving. So many of you have asked me this question in the past. No? But isn't it the mind that perceives? No. The mind is just a bundle of thoughts. And that bundle only one at a time. No? And a thought is never perceived anything. But it loves to take all the importance. But we are here to find out what we are without the mind. If there is a no mind, does no mind equal to vegetative? No? That would be the end of Zen. No? If no mind equals vegetative, then who would go to Zen? If to remain in the unborn meant no words can ever be spoken, then how is Master Bankai speaking? He is answering questions from the audience. How was he answering? So either all of them were frauds, just saying stuff, but they didn't look at things deeply. Bankai, all things are perfectly resolved in the unborn. But if he was in the unborn, how was he answering questions? Fraud, fraud. But who tells us these things? The mind itself.
So when a question is asked, when a thought appears,
Ask a question without a thought.
no way.
Hmm?
No way.
No way.
No way.
Yes way.
Yes way?
Yes way.
Yes way.
Yes way.
Okay.
Okay. Bhagwan said, no? Who are you? Using the mind?
Good one.
Huh? Good one. I have to pull out the big guns for that.
But that was not the question.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say a question arises. The problem is not in the question itself. Because as you say, a question can arise and it's fine, finally. So the problem is that there is a construction of a limited entity, like a character that solidifies in this. Like there is a relationship between the thought.
Yes. Try to believe a thought without that construction. Any thought. Try to believe a thought and don't do that construction of limitedness.
So yeah, it would be just an image.
Image. Coconut is green.
Appearing.
No, image is not a thought, but your interpretation of the image is a thought. The narrative about the image is a thought.
Okay, so for instance, sometimes I have I don't know, let's say an image of what I want for dinner. And so there is this image of...
The image is there. How do you know you want it for dinner? I'm also trying to look at this. So image is there. How do I know I want it for dinner?
It's like a suggestion
Of image. Closer is dinner and there is tomorrow night. How is it? How do I know I want this for dinner? Intuitively?
Actually, the image pops up without even doing anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Everything pops up without doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is this
Yeah.
suggestion.
Image is there.
Yeah.
Pasta. Okay, then?
Yeah.
Now?
Exactly. Pasta.
How do I know I want it for dinner?
How?
How do I know that I want this for dinner? Just keep looking at the image and see. Dinner.
Because I like this dish. All the ingredients are in the apartment.
No, how do you know you like this dish?
How do I know I like this dish?
Yeah. You're looking at the image. Let's go really slowly. Looking at the image. Now, what's next? Asking his question. So let's use spiritual terms. So say there is a perception, we want to make a desire out of it. You see? How do we do that without a thought? I want for dinner, let's call that a desire. You see, the image is that of pasta, which itself is just an image. How do I make a desire out of an appearance? Without a thought, is there I want, is there dinner, any of these things?
Somebody does that all the time for nice images.
Yeah.
Any media agency,
Yeah.
you would want to make it look attractive,
Yeah.
the dish. So when you're working, you would.
So you are telling me to quit?
No. I'm saying you would have that in mind that it should look attractive, the poster. You should make them want to come and spend money and eat it.
So you're saying inherently in the image there is desire?
No, but that's how you would want to design an image in your job. No?
That'll get the right narrative up.
Without a narrative, it's possible. Is it like, I'm just asking you advice for how you run your job. No, it's not really my concern, but here.
Yeah.
So your job is to get somebody to come and have dinner there.
Jasminder will answer on my behalf. I never did my job properly anyway. She did it very well. What is the job? Yes, the job is to create like a psychological advantage for the client in the mind of the consumer.
Would you never put a text? Without the text, would you say it would never do that job? It was just
the text can come from the mind also. It doesn't have to be put in copy.
Achha, it's not in the poster, but somehow it evokes
Of course.
If you are open, which you are always, so you have no distinction between good, a nice painting or better painting, and then you'll have to use your mind when you are doing your work. Well, no, I mean, you will have to take some decisions, right? This pasta picture looks better than the other pasta. It's more provoking. It's less provoking.
Yeah. So is intuitive knowledge the superset or the subset of the mind?
But for intuitive knowledge, everything is beautiful.
No. And even if it may be, doesn't mean that's what it expresses. So I sit in the meeting, I'm just like so open and empty. It's all great. Good job, everyone. Bye. It may be like that, although it usually isn't. Can't predict, and we can't presume that.
your job is to judge between the two images. And I'm not going to use the pasta example, right? A pasta versus burger, right? And I will judge it. So it's difficult to digest how intuitively I can judge it, for me at least right now. Yeah. Without putting taste in it, without defining it for myself, we try.
So we are talking about how the functioning of the body mind happens, although we are living in a way which is open and empty, isn't it?
Yes.
So when I'm open and empty and my child is doing something, let's say, harmful to themselves, then intuitively I cannot tell them that this is wrong. I have to be judging through my mind to do that. Or I'm sharing satsang with all of you and I notice you're going in the wrong direction, you're not following properly. But I cannot notice that intuitively, I must be judging with my mind. So are these presumptions which the mind itself is offering us?
True.
Or have we tasted that the vastness of our intuitive knowledge, our intuitive presence, is that the roles can be played naturally if they must be, that life can unfold in most situations in the most natural ways.
So it's mind's assumption.
Even without holding on to conceptual notions, we can be placed in environments where it seems like certain decisions are taken, certain choices are made. Intuition has no trouble with any of that. Just like it has no trouble with picking what it is going to say next in satsang, and it's no trouble saying yes, 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 my child, or no, you're completely wrong. It can play out just like that supreme intelligence which is running this entire universe is not limited in that way that it cannot handle situations in life. Maybe what it can't handle, or it can but it won't handle, is that it has to do things my way, like the way of my mind. So if we go with that expectation that this is a nice cheat code to life and I can just make everything happen my way by just being intuitive, it's not going to dance to those tunes. So this is a good conversation to have, because is it really possible to live headlessly? And it doesn't have to do with work. The sages have run ashrams, that's also work. It is said Bhagavan Ramana one time got very angry with one disciple because he did something badly in the kitchen. So the outer expression can be used by the intuitive presence, used by God's light, without the contamination of the head, in whichever way it feels fit. So, in fact, that is the crux of what is being said. What is it to really follow God's will? What is it to follow God's will?
I trust the mind. Yeah.
So it is not to necessarily retire in a cave, although in some cases that may happen intuitively as well. And it doesn't mean that if you're in a cave, you have no choices to make. How are you going to prevent all the snakes from coming into the cave? You make some choices. Should I put this? Should I block it with this? Should I Elevate my body where I sleep. Yeah, all those. It will not leave you, no?
Asked you this question in a slightly different flavor, but it's coming back. So maybe I might sound repetitive, but like today I was working for 2-3 hours. I could say that it was a flow state of work for sure. It wasn't something that was easy to do. It was very difficult, but yet it was of that nature, that taste. But there was a lot of thinking involved in the way I'm calling it thinking, and that's where my confusion is.
Flow and thinking together.
Yeah, and what I mean by flow is like when you're working on, let's say you're playing chess, for example. You can really be in flow, enjoying that game of chess. You're planning this move, that move, what happens if that opponent does this. And so maybe it's semantics, and that's where my confusion might be, is I'm considering that still to be thinking, but it's not thinking of the bothersome kind. And is that the difference, or that also is that intuition, what's happening in the chess game?
Yeah. You try to play chess intuitively?
I'm not trying anything.
No,
which is why I'm making a report after the fact, trying to understand.
No, I'm saying that because I also play chess sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just play intuitively.
So like when I say,
so I don't do it, although that may also happen intuitively, but usually I am not saying pawn a4 to a5 or something like that.
Okay, let me give you a simpler example. I'm coming up with a strategy for my company to do a certain thing. I'm analyzing the competition and I'm thinking, okay, if that competitor does this, then I have to be prepared for that. So it's a lot of if, then, else. It's not stressful. It's enjoyable, that strategy session. But there's clearly thought, if that person does this, then I should think of, so that's why my confusion is. That's all thinking too. But is that kosher thinking? And I'm not trying to make it, it's just for my understanding, because I'm witnessing these thoughts. I'm not feeling closed and full, opposite of open and empty. I'm feeling open and empty, but there's thinking that's going on. And it's okay, because it's not mind wandering, it's not mind chattering, it's not oppressive, it's not enhancing the ego. That's.
So 2 points I would say to this. One is that the appearance of thoughts may go on anyway. So if thinking means just the appearance of thoughts, then that is not thinking. But if thinking is that the thoughts come and I'm believing them, and based on that,
right.
So we can just allow our heart to move all of this. It doesn't mean that a business strategy cannot be created. It can be created from the heart as well.
Thank you.
What did you say that even if you live in a cave, you have some thought, or is it the snakes and
what I was saying is that it seems like open and empty. The mind wants to make it a very restrictive sort of place. When I'm open and empty, I can't answer a question. When I'm open and empty, I can't decide. I can't give feedback to people on the work that they've done. It can make it into a very sort of restrictive idea of open and empty, which is the opposite of open and empty. Open and empty is just so open and empty that everything can flow from there. You see, everything can flow. So you have to taste these things more rather than think about them and say, how must it be? So it'll be good if you can report like that. I'm just so open and empty. But as I was open and empty, I found that there was nothing, no question, no answer, or a report which says I was so open and empty, and yet I was in a business meeting and all those things just naturally flowed. Why do we feel that satsang can happen but work can't happen as we open and empty? Satsang is not hard work.
It's the challenge is that the work is, the objective function you're working towards is maximizing social prosperity.
Yeah.
Whether it's your company's profits or something, and it's a kind of a zero sum situation, maybe with the notion of competition.
Yes.
So it's a different paradigm, and that's where it's.
Yes. So that subtext, in a way, determines whether it is possible to be in the heart or not possible. So if this, if the subtext of satsang was not so that everybody came to God's light, and it was a different subtext, then we could not live in the heart. Is it like that?
You can feel the presence, and your activities can run.
Exactly. So,
but this
and all of us have this experience at work that we may say, okay, my work is so that this happens and that happens ultimately, but most of the time when we're working, we don't consider that at all. When we are just like in the work and it is flowing, we are not thinking, okay, now what is the impact on net worth and company valuation and all of those things. Those happen once in a while, maybe in like strategy conversations.
Well, the issue is there's a want attached to everything. So if I send in, if I'm discussing with somebody, let's say, it could be a client or it could be, whatever, there's a want, there's some implicitly some goal. I'm sending an email to somebody, I'm trying to persuade them to do something. There's something there, whereas in open and empty, it's devoid of all. Right. So this is where I don't know if I'm getting too. I'm just trying to kind of get into why it's unsettling at work.
And maybe this is taking care of the conversation we wanted to have when you said earlier when we met. So in satsang, as you asked this question, did you want a greater understanding?
In satsang, I have to reject wanting understanding. I have to reject wanting to understand.
Yes. So as you asked the question, there was no want with that question.
I just pivoted to the mind. I just recognized that the whole conversation was the mind reacting. The mind was trying to rationalize something.
So suppose that some magic happened and we, instead of being in the satsang hall, we were suddenly in the office. As we continue to be open and empty, then things could unfold. No, emails could be sent and WhatsApp messages could be responded to, things like that. As you open and empty. Huh? Yeah, happy to do. Come with me to work any day.
Write an email.
All the people will be like, what's happening? Come. It is possible, and it's people can actually also sense it. But also, it is not that I'm always like. Sometimes I find my mouth giving like strong feedback and telling people. All flow from this.
Is there anything which cannot happen to you?
Yeah.
Is there anything which cannot happen to you?
Intuitively, suffering can't happen. Don't make that a benchmark.
Play a sport. I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
When I say very competitive, I really want to win that point, is what I mean. And it goes point by point. And at the end of the day, I may have won some games, some lost, but I go back every day with as much zeal to play that sport, and it's not exhausting or fatiguing in any way. So it seems like competition works without a problem in a play mode, and play could be life also. I don't know. Work could be that play. I don't know. Or do you think
And yet, a few
competition
times
is?
we've already spoken about how the greatest sports people and the greatest scientists, all of them have often said that they play the best when they're in the zone. And when I hear them talking about the zone, it just sounds like open and empty to me. It doesn't sound at all different. Huh? Yes. See, he's a player. He's a billiards or snooker. I always confuse the two. He plays at an international level. So when are you playing your best?
You have nothing in your mind. Just blank.
And maybe you can clarify. It's like when I enter the point, there is a background desire to win the point, but once you start playing hit the ball, then there's nobody there. Stuff is just happening.
So what does the context bring to the moment?
So when you step onto the court and you're going to hit the ball, there is a desire to eventually win the point.
Yeah.
But
what does that bring to the actual playing of it when you're empty?
No, I'm just trying to say that I'm finding that competition, that intent to win the point, which is there at the posture of beginning the game, is a competitive goal.
Yeah.
But while the playing is happening, there's no sense of competition. Like the mind is empty, like what he said.
Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah. So that context of wanting to win the point has to be discarded when you're actually playing the point. Yes. So satsang is just the invitation to constantly discard it. Anyway, the real thing was that not the benefits to life and what happens when you're in the zone and all those, we can say, let's for the moment that they are the byproducts. But what is the insight when you're open and empty? Not be touched. By anything that may appear and disappear. The appearance and disappearance of anything at all does not touch the reality. Who do we find? Who do we find when we are open and empty? Who is here? Who are you when you are empty? And if that one is insipid and boring, then how come all the sages have given us such magnificent descriptions? The self-effulgent, all-pervasive, all-knowing, absolute reality, higher than the highest king of all kings. How are they saying all this? Because there's nothing there, no? Why they say higher than the greatest king of all kings? They're really silly, these sages. How are they saying all this? Even like that, we should tell these sages, they're all just so messed up, using concepts for everything. See, all kinds of things. The boundless ocean in which the arcs of the universes come and go. For whom are they saying all this? Because actually, there's nothing there. Yeah, but full of what? Huh? Huh? Full of me? The real me, the self? But it's nothing, no? I feel like half of you are wondering whether I'm really saying or being sarcastic. I'm obviously being sarcastic in the sense that all the sages have said the highest of the highest. They cannot be talking about a negative nothing. Not be talking about, oh, nothing. They're talking about that where, so that song, जहाँ कुछ नहीं भी नहीं था, वही था. Means that even where even nothing was not, only he was or it was. Is this just fancy language, far-fetched and removed from reality, or is this reality? There where even nothing was not, only he was. Can we meet this? Where even nothing was not apparent, open and empty. Empty of even the notion of empty, empty of even the notion of open, just empty. Where even nothing is not. Already the mind cannot fathom this, no? Where even nothing is not. What is the mind to make out of it? It's like saying, my question, what do you know when you know nothing? Mind is just like, what? But the author, I don't know, was it Bulle Shah? Somebody said, जहाँ कुछ नहीं भी नहीं था वही था, which means that where even nothing was not, the reality was, or the self was, or he was, or God was, whatever word you want to use. The sage was just messing around. Who is that he who is there where even nothing is not? He is the whole point of everything that is spoken in Satsang. That one. If everything else is found and he is not recognized, then all of Satsang has been futile. Who is that one? Have we met this one or no? So I put an end to the number crunching or whatever it seemed like. If you reassure me that if I was to go away tomorrow, you will not just make a life hack out of open and empty. You know what I mean by that? Sort of expanded on that throughout today. Because I don't want you to just have a nice life. Of course, I want that for you, but not just that. If all that you got after being in satsang was that you led a nice life, not good enough for me. Or even a blissful life, or a joyful life, or a life full of love and companionship and everything. But you continue to be oblivious to God's reality. Have you found the God that you cannot perceive? Till all of us do, I'm very happy to keep sharing, keep repeating. And all of you must also share with each other. All of you must also share with each other. Because like, I will not rest till I feel like I've fully shared this light with you. In the same way that as Sangha brothers and sisters, and even anyone who comes to you, If you feel to knock and just check if they're open.